Kia ora, Terry. Morena.
Just a quick introduction to you, my friend. People, we've got West James on right at the moment, and just recently he made an announcement that he was going to spend the whole winter surfing without a wetsuit on. Oh! And so just to raise awareness, and I'll let you elaborate a little bit, to raise awareness of mental health and prevention of suicide for our people. So,
yep.
I'll let you sort of, how did you get into all this racing and what about your adventure, so to speak?
No, thanks for having me on, Terry. Well, luckily I've got one winter under my belt. I did it last year just for my own well-being, and how it all started really was getting into cold showers and cold ice baths. My brother Albie James, he's right into that, and he got me into cold showering and then ice baths, and then from there I started watching all these documentaries on Wim Hof. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him, the Iceman. He's like the guru of cold water. He's climbed Mount Everest in shorts. He swims around in frickin' glacier lakes and stuff like that. So I started watching a lot of his documentaries, and he just tells everyone, he's so like down to earth. He's like, you just got to do it, man. Anyone can do it. Oh, he is. So I just thought I'll just do it, and last year I thought I'll go April. I'll see how that goes, and last year started off quite similar to this year, where April was quite mild, like it was still 17 degrees in the water, which is pretty mild, really. Yeah.
Still good for catchy snapper, mate.
Yeah, that's right. So I thought this year I would publicise it and encourage people to have a go, not necessarily surfing a whole winter in their board shorts, but even having a cold shower, like things like minor physical injuries. On a lot of sports athletes use cold plunges to recover, and I found it really good for like joint injuries and stuff, like just putting the cold shower head right on that joint or sore body part. Yeah.
So, and how do you think you're going to get through the colder months of the winter? Like, how does it affect you, as like the likes of flu and stuff like that? Do you get colds?
Well, that's a real good question, actually. Last year I didn't get sick, actually. So I had a sniffly nose a couple of times, but I didn't have anything major. The one time there was one surf that I went out that I actually felt cold, if you know what I mean. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cold every time when you're in July and you're surfing, but one particular day that I went out, I think I'd been doing a day's work on the chainsaw, and I was like exhausted, and I just didn't have the edge, I suppose you'd say, to, like, I felt cold in that surf, but every other surf was good, like it's a challenge.
It would be a challenge, Wes, because I'm just thinking, a cold plunge when you're in your hot and cold, that's okay, you can get in there neck deep for a minute.
Yeah.
But sitting there in the cold water with an offshore,
honestly.
How long are you out the back for? You wouldn't want to wait around too long for the
that's the real challenge, because that's when the surf's pumping, is that cold southeasterly, so the wind, and Wim Hof talks about that too, like he's like, when it's windy you just got to get in there and get out. But I've tried to average, like last winter I tried to average a 1 hour surf, 45 minutes to 1 hour, which is pretty good. And I think people need to understand as well that, like, when I've talked to people about cold water therapy and stuff, it's not about, people go down this rabbit hole of thinking they've got to be cold all the time. So it's like actually real important that if you are going to do cold water therapy, whether it's at home in a shower or you're going to dump a bag of ice in your bath, is literally get warm afterwards. You're not doing yourself any favours if you stay cold for the whole day. That's when you run into problems. You actually want to do it in a controlled way, like you see. I keep referring back to Wim Hof because he's the man. He's like the guru of it all. Like when they go climb a mountain in shorts in Poland in the middle of winter in knee-deep snow, they come back to his base camp and they're doing like a sauna for 2 hours. So that's an important part as well, is have some warm clothes And
How do you, just a question, how do you get a sauna on Everest?
I don't know what he did there, I don't know. I think one of those mountain climbs he got frostbite in one of his toes, but he managed to not get it cut off. I don't know how he healed it. Something.
Did he go on to the summit of Everest and shoot?
I think he went to the death zone. I can't remember how far he went, but he went. I don't know if it was to the top or it was to the death zone.
I don't think it matters. I am intrigued. I don't think I've been at the base of Everest in short.
It's online anyway. I can't remember the exact detail.
Shrinkage and other appendages.
It's what all the guys are always thinking. Survival.
So this is an exercise to put a little bit of light on mental health, you were saying?
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, we recently lost 2 surfers in the community. I didn't know them personally, but that motivated me to, publicise my what I'm doing and put it out there.
Because it really did pull together the surfing community.
Yeah, it's a real tragedy, and it's like, there are simple things that we can do, like part of what I'm promoting, and I'm sort of building this and making it up as I go, and part of it is about taking radical self-responsibility, and there's like little things, like literally anyone could go and have a cold shower in their home for 10 seconds, and that can have a massive impact on your day. That can.
So do you think it's like a little bit of a reset? Like it just freshens up your body and just resets your hinengaro, or like your head?
Totally. Yep, totally. I mean, you've got to face your ego when you wake up and it's like the middle of winter and you're snugly in your bed. Like, who wants to go and stand in a cold shower? It totally brings you back into that present moment and helps you to, reboot, reset.
I totally get what you're saying. I'm just...
Do you like doing a bit of a cold plunge?
I'm all about the cold plunge.
Netball girls are quite into that.
Awesome.
It's sports in general, and it just, I don't know what it does, whether it just kind of disperses that lactic acid, I don't know, but when you are really super fatigued and you think like, man, especially a tournament, I've got to get up and do this tomorrow, it's exactly what Wes says. It is that, like, it does freshen you up and sharpen you up, and it does offer you a little bit of a reprieve from whether it's sore muscles or overthinking. Like, it does shift
totally
your mindset really quickly, because you've got to look at focusing on breathing.
Yes.
You really feel everything in your body. Like, it's actually, I'm with you, Wes.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't want to do it.
I've got a great hot and cold story, but it takes a while to tell. But not hot and cold plunges in the surf,
Well, I think about the history of Aotearoa, like you think like Māori people going back in time, like they were out there diving in all seasons, like it's a real natural thing to do, like humans have had to be exposed to the elements, and they didn't have blimmin' insulated shoes and whatnot,
They didn't use to have wetsuits back then.
That's right.
And I think what you're talking about there is what they call mātauranga Māori.
Yeah.
And that's, so they use the knowledge from those before them heading into heading into the new generations and how they apply things in those seasons. So, that's exactly what you're talking about, is this mātauranga Māori, which is that knowledge of those before us that we use today and how we apply that. So, man, cool Kaupapa. Really
awesome,
cool.
Thank you.
Hey mate, so tell me, you're just in board shorts.
Yeah.
Not even booties.
Nah, no booties. Oh, my brother was giving me crap because I've called my YouTube channel uninsulated, but the board shorts I'm actually wearing have got a 1mm wetsuit layer in them, but they're actually the actual reason I wear them. Like, I mean, let's get real, they're not keeping you warm when you're in 11-degree water in the howling sou'easter, but they actually allow way more movement to when you stand up. Because like with wearing normal board shorts, I always find they either get caught on my knees, although I just can't stand up properly, so they much to my brother's It's a pleasure. He's like, oh, you're not uninsulated. I've seen those board shorts.
He's your brother. He's past your
So you're having a little bit of shrinkage, man.
Has anyone joined you? Is anyone going to join you? Do you reckon you might see a couple of guys out the back there?
I've sort of had this cool idea that, you know, like, we've got this Taranaki hardcore legacy here, and imagine if it sort of started building, that it was like, whoa, we go down to Taranaki and there's 10 guys surfing in the middle of winter with no wetsuit. You know, like, how awesome would that be, eh? I mean, there could be scope for something like a surf comp that's like boardies only. I don't know, there's people I probably need to connect with to do that. I do want to run a couple of events just to have some ice baths on land, to get people, have an opportunity for people to do it, and then doing it in a group's quite good as well.
Oh, mate, I love it.
I was talking to Dave Haskell about it yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he would jump in there.
Yeah, awesome. Right, Dave, Terry's put your name on the list.
Terry and I'll get out there.
I did a bit of that.
Mate, I love the whole Sakado. I reckon it is awesome. And this whole build the plane as I fly it situation, mate, I'm impressed. It's cool.
Yeah.
The Kaupapa is
Awesome.
Like, look after each other, especially our men out there.
Yeah.
We need to look after each other.
Yeah, and totally. And we also need to.
I'm in a weird position because I'm so impressed, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, idiot.
And that's the thing, and that's what this is. This is also about, you know, what's become normal in our society. Like, we've become, it's almost normal that so many people are taking their lives per year. It's normal to not expose yourself to the cold. It's normal to be warm and be in comfort all the time, and then it really compromises our ability to deal with discomfort. So what I'm learning through the cold exposure, and what a lot of people talk about, I'm not an expert in it, I'm just on the journey of it, but a lot of people talk about it. It's about building that resilience, being able to handle discomfort, because it's chuck 10 bags of ice in your bath and hop in there. It's a challenge, it's horrible, but it's like being able to find a calm, being able to tap into some sort of resilience or self-reliance, because no one else can do it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, good on you, brother.
Yeah, awesome.
It's always good to have a little motivational, reason to do things, and if you can get to a few of our people and be able to get them to change their mindsets, well, all the better.
Yep. Building that mental toughness, just like one step at a time, totally.
Yeah. Well, I hope other people get on board and you build a little bit of a fun group that can get out, because I mean, more people that are involved, the more the message will get spread.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you do like is there any fundraising type activities that come along with what you're doing?
Well, that's a good question. I don't really have a target for that at the moment. Once I start organising these events, I'll have a clear idea of how that best could be used, like what, because I'm not actually too au fait with what charities are doing what around the place. So no, that's a good question.
There is a program being put out there, I think it might be government initiated, about funding for these types of messages that can be sent in the prevention of suicides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There may be some way that it can be tapped into to publicise it more often and get more people on board. Though.
Yeah.
There'll be funding out there. It's a massive topic. It's a priority need for our community, as you know, which is why you've already jumped on. So, mate, there'll be definitely... And that's the wonderful thing about being in Taranaki, right? Like you mentioned, Taranaki hardcore.
Yeah.
We are a wonderful community. So Wes starts doing something rad, and we're like, man, we love that.
Yeah.
Let us help you. So you're
awesome.
the perfect community to get to do this.
Yeah, wicked. And I'm also, just sort of changing the subject, I also want to go down to either Wellington or even Kaikoura for a trip to really test myself, because I mean, on the scale of things, Taranaki doesn't get that cold like temperature water wise, you know, compared to like Wellington or Castle Point, Wairarapa. It gets blinking freezing down there when you're in a wetsuit and you're freaking cold, you know. Because it's saying online that it's 19 degrees still in the water, which is like summer temperatures.
It's got to be in like the mid-20s for me to go swimming on the beach.
We did have a dusting of snow last night too.
Actually, that's a good point you make over here. Like the west is wild, but it's not cold.
Yeah, we don't get, I mean, you know, comparatively, when you look at like, you know, in the King Country or over in the, you know, inland places, they get really cold.
The good Lord made it that way here in God's own, so that you can
Yeah.
It was just built right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mate. Oh, it's been good talking to you. You're still teaching music and stuff like that?
Yeah, doing a bit of that and focusing on the bands as well. Yep, writing and releasing music. Yeah.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you for a while, so
Right.
it's a bump into you sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Out in the surf and you bush shorts.
Yeah.
I'll be at the beach like the fire so he gets warm when he comes in.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, drop off and give you a tip and he's out there fishing on his boat, mate.
Okay, buddy, well, we'll stay in touch and see how you get out during the year and see how much progress you're making as far as the awareness message getting around.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds good. Tēnā kōrua.
Lucky hard, mate.
Ngā mihi.
Cheers. Okay.
Ka kite.